Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Friday. The weekend is very nearly here. I hope you're having a good one wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, it is Friday. The sun is out. It's a bit of a scorcher over here in the UK. What is there not to love about that? Right, I've got plenty to talk about today. We're going to talk about Viktor Gyokeres as that story continues to rumble on from Portugal. Strong reports from over there of a firm offer now being made by Arsenal, an offer that was not enough money. Talks of a meeting in Menorca between Sporting, Andrea Berta, and Gyokeres representatives. So we'll talk about that. I'll give my thoughts on what's going on there. We're going to talk about Gabriel, or Agent Gabriel, as a lot of people have been talking or calling him, after he revealed that he's been speaking to Andrea Berta about Rodrygo, telling him to sign the phenomenal Rodrygo, as he described him. He's also given a little bit of an injury update, which is a positive one as well. Got loads of questions and comments from you guys to get stuck into. And just to note, if you're an Inside Arsenal Patreon member, then the Press Pass show is going to be being recorded a little bit later on this morning, as usual, with myself, Sam Dean of The Telegraph, Simon Collins of The Standard, where we'll be getting stuck into all the stories doing the rounds at the moment. And of course, you guys have been dropping your questions into the Press Pass section of the Discord, and we'll be getting stuck into some of those as well. And yeah, just remember, if you want to become an Inside Arsenal Patreon member and you haven't yet, then you can go down into the description below. The link is there. Copy and paste that into your browser, and it will take you to the Patreon page where you can sign up, become a member. You get to see the Press Pass show. You get all my content ad-free as well. You get access to the Discord, which is a really growing Arsenal community on there now, which is lots of fun to be involved in. There'll be giveaways as well. So yeah, if you want to sign up, become a member, you can do that. The link is down there in the description. I am going to put today's Press Pass show out onto this YouTube channel as well. So those of you who haven't signed up yet and want to sort of interested in what the Press Pass show is like, well, this week, you're going to get a chance to watch it. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That will be going out a little bit later on today as well. Right, let's get stuck into the latest on Viktor Gyokeres, shall we? And strong reports from Portugal yesterday that Arsenal have now made an opening offer for Gyokeres, which was not deemed to be enough. The numbers in the reports, and these are widespread. It was first reported by Bruno Andrade, who's my former colleague at Goal, actually. Very big journalist over there in Portugal, does some writing, but also big on the TV as well. And he wrote the story yesterday in the sort of just around lunchtime that Arsenal had made this opening offer. And then it was followed up by various outlets in Portugal also claiming that this offer has been made, and detailed fairly sort of strong details in those reports of a meeting in Menorca 2 days ago between Andrea Berta, Gyokeres' representatives, Sporting Lisbon, Sporting director, all met in Menorca, and that's where this offer was made. That offer was not deemed to be enough. The numbers that were put in the reports were about sort of 55 million euros with an extra 10 million in add-ons, taking it up to around 65 million in total, and Sporting deeming that that is not enough. Obviously, we had their president a couple of days ago really sort of laying into Gyokeres and all the talk about a gentleman's agreement, and he said that 60 plus 10 would not be enough. So Arsenal's obviously, if this bid is legit, then that bid was obviously not going to be enough. Now, obviously, I'm not doubting these reports. They seem very well sourced. There's lots of details in them, and like I said, I know Bruno from my time at Goal, and I spoke to him yesterday about it, and he's sure that a bid has been made. Now, I haven't been able to confirm that from my side, and obviously, none of the Arsenal press pack yet over here have been able to confirm that because no one's wrote a similar story. So, like me, they are obviously struggling to get confirmation that these reports in Portugal are correct. So they haven't, no one over here has wrote that yet. And that's not saying that the ones in Portugal aren't correct. They might well be, but we over here haven't been able to confirm it yet. So until I do, or someone else from the press pack over here has been able to confirm that, then it's tough to say 100% if these stories are legit. There are interesting details in the story though. These are obviously sourced from somewhere. Someone has been talking for these details of a meeting in Menorca to creep out. It is interesting because it comes at a time really when the pendulum seemed to have swung more to Sesko than Viktor Gyokeres. Now suddenly we've got these reports from Portugal that a bid has been made. Gyokeres took to social media yesterday, and he posted this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. He posted it on his Instagram account. just a simple message on a black screen saying there is lots of talks at the moment. Most of it is false. I will speak when the time is right. Now, this came out fairly soon after the reports in Portugal of Arsenal's bid being made. And so there's slight confusion in terms of what Gyokeres is talking about here. Is he talking about the reports in Portugal of a bid being made? Or is this in response to what the Sporting Lisbon president was saying about him a day before? I would suggest it's the latter. I would think it's more to aim towards the president and his comments than it is about the reports of a bid from Arsenal. But it was interesting timing, the fact that this did come out just before. Obviously, it's all getting very, very messy over there in Portugal at the moment with Gyokeres and Sporting and the relationship between the two parties. That it was pretty crazy to see what the president was saying and how public he was on it and calling out Gyokeres' agent and all this talk about the gentleman's agreement not being correct. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's bubbling away. We'll see what today brings. Obviously, I'm recording this very early on Friday. Like I said, I haven't been able to confirm the reports of the bid yet. So we'll see if any sort of confirmation comes today on that. But yeah, interesting one. I had a question from North Bank Pod who said, could Arsenal be trying to court both Sporting and Leipzig to see if they can get a better deal from one against the other? Now, this is interesting because I can't say this for certain, obviously, but I have to admit that this is something that I was thinking about yesterday when this all came out. Is this in a bid to sort of try and leverage a bit of pressure on Leipzig in terms of what they're demanding from Sesko? If suddenly they're seeing that Arsenal are bidding for Gyokeres, it was something that crossed my mind, but also these reports are clearly being leaked from the Portuguese side of things. So these reports on Gyokeres, I don't think are coming from Arsenal because, like I said, I haven't been able to confirm it with people that I've sort of put the question to, and the fact that no one else has been able to confirm it yet from this side suggests they're having the exact same issue. So it's not coming from somewhere on the Arsenal side. It's clearly coming from either from Sporting or it's coming from Gyokeres' camp, which makes me think that it's sort of, although that thought process crossed my mind, it made me think actually this isn't really coming from Arsenal, so I'm not sure it is them sort of trying to put a bit of pressure on Sesko. It will help though. I think it will probably help if it is out there because, Sesko's camp will want to get this deal done with Arsenal as quickly as possible, and you would think Leipzig kind of know they have to sell Sesko this summer, so they don't want to play sort of push Arsenal too hard and end up with them sort of leaving the table and then they're back to square one trying to find a buyer for Sesko. So it's an interesting question, North Bank Pod. This sort of thing does happen. There is absolutely no doubt about that. We know that Berta is talking to plenty of targets. It's just interesting that this Gyokeres stuff comes out just at the time when, certainly from the sense I was getting, the pendulum had just swung pretty firmly towards Sesko. So interesting. As I said, it moves forward very, very quickly. So we'll see what today brings on that. Right, let's talk about Gabriel, shall we? Now, he went on a Portuguese or a Brazilian podcast yesterday and was asked about Rodrygo and the links with Arsenal and the fact that Arsenal was said to, really, really like Rodrygo and hoping to sign him at some point this summer. Now, the pair of them obviously international teammates with Brazil. And this is what Gabriel said when he was asked about Rodrygo. He said, Rodrygo is a phenomenon for me. He's not at Arsenal, but they're saying his name a lot. If it was up to me, of course. I already told the guys. I even said to the director, Rodrygo is a phenomenon. So there you go. Gabriel doing his best, pushing Rodrygo towards Andrea Berta. And yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I'd love Rodrygo at Arsenal. My fear, as I've mentioned, is the thing dragging on and on and on, and it becoming a bit of a saga, and having to wait right till the end of the window for Real Madrid to make a decision, or Rodrygo to make a decision. But he's a hell of a player, and I kind of look at the stardust that he will bring and the quality he will bring. More than the stardust, just the quality that he will bring to this side. If he was to arrive, I just think it'd be a fabulous signing at a perfect time for this Arsenal team as well. And this. It kind of feels like this is a summer where you really need. Well, you don't really need. That's wrong because all you need this summer is good, smart signings. But it's been a while now. The last few transfer windows have been a bit frustrating, and you would just love a bit of that sort of wow factor that just generates that buzz and that excitement that just brings everyone together. And I kind of look at Rodrygo and just think this is the perfect time for that type of signing. at Arsenal. Gabriel has also been talking about his injury. So he got the injury against Fulham, wasn't it, towards the end of last season, and has been out ever since. But he's been talking about the injury on that podcast, and he said, my injury was 3 months out, and it's been 2 months now already. I'm already running on the pitch, and I will be ready for the start of pre-season. So that's really good, really positive news from Gabriel, saying it'll be ready for the start of pre-season, because that's just so important. Because even if you miss a few weeks of pre-season, that makes a big difference. You talk to so many players about what it's like to be injured in pre-season and miss the start and be playing kind of catch up on everyone else, and they will always tell you it is a real negative. It's really difficult to catch up, and it always sort of ends up feeding into the season because you're just not ready. You're just not nowhere near as prepared as your teammates. So for Gabriel to be able to hit the ground running straight away and be able to start with everyone else when pre-season gets underway, I think that'll be a massive boost. So yeah, really good news from him. Okay, moving on to some of your questions and comments now. Carl has got in touch on the Discord. He says, hi, Charles. I'm a little concerned that no matter who comes in as our striker, the pressure has been built up so high that whoever it is either has to win us the title or it's a failure. The club's failure to act in previous windows has put unnecessary pressure on this signing to basically make or break this Arteta era. I think our problems last season were bigger than just a striker, so it's unrealistic to think that one comes in and all of a sudden we become champions. What are your thoughts? I mean, that last line, you absolutely cannot just think a strike comes in and Arsenal champions. I mean, if you think that, if anyone thinks that, then they're crazy, because it's just far too simplistic a view. We're talking about the Premier League here, the most difficult league in the world to win, in my opinion. So you cannot just think, oh, one signing, Arsenal sign a striker, that's it, it's champion. It's just totally unrealistic. You cannot think that. I think it will give Arsenal a much better chance of winning the Premier League title to have another number 9 coming in, because we all saw last season, we've all known, Arsenal knew, Arteta knew, he was saying it himself in a press conference the whole of January, that, it was clear Arsenal needed at least one other option in attack. So it will certainly increase Arsenal's chances of winning the Premier League. It is going to have, whoever comes in is going to have a lot of pressure on them. There is no doubt about that, because all eyes are on them. It's almost, the Arsenal striker is almost bigger than just an Arsenal thing. It's kind of like a Premier League thing now. Every single, all clubs, all fans are looking at it. Who are Arsenal going to sign? So whoever it is going to be a massive story, and there's going to be huge amounts of spotlight on them. No doubt about that. So they're going to have to deal with that, and you would hope they will be able to deal with that. But I think it's totally unrealistic to think just because Arsenal signed a striker, that means they're going to win the Premier League. You can't think that. That will be the aim. That's the target. It's absolutely what they should be targeting. But you can't just think, it's far too simplistic a view on that. But thank you very much, Carl, for your question. Kieran now has gone in touch. Says, Charles, the final is played. Oh, this is in response to the Santi Cazorla stuff I was talking about yesterday at Oviedo, and Santi scoring the free kick that put them into the second division playoff final with a chance to go up to La Liga. And I said yesterday it was a one-game final, kind of like over here in the UK. Kieran has got in touch to correct me on that. So thank you very much, Kieran. You say the final is played over 2 legs, unfortunately. I moved to Oviedo from London 6 years ago, and Santi coming up has been a revelation. Last year, Oviedo lost in the playoff finals by a disallowed goal. It was heartbreak for the city. I am also a chef, and Santi actually comes in with his family. Last week, he came in with David Silva, and he always makes a point to stop and talk to me about Arsenal. He is brilliant on and off the field. I thought that was a lovely comment from Kieran. Fantastic little story there that Santi comes in to the restaurant. I bet that is a right buzz when that happens. And yeah, so thank you very much, Kieran. Thank you for correcting me. And thank you for sharing that about Santi. And next time you see him, from all of us in the Inside Arsenal community, please do tell him the best of luck in the final. Matt now says, on Kiwior, I agree the time is right to sell, but it comes down to whether these Italian clubs can find the dosh down the back of the sofa. All things being equal, I'd like to sell him for a fair price and sign Hatto or whoever else we really rate. But I think a fair price now is a clear profit on what we paid. If they're hitting £25 million plus 30 million euros, let's talk. If they don't, he's got 3 years left. I'm very happy to keep him, and we aren't running a charity. Yeah, it's interesting. What price is a good price for Kiwior? I think Arsenal paid about 17 million for Kiwior. There's probably a few add-ons on there as well that could have taken that price up, but I think it was, give or take, it was around sort of 17 million, 18 million. They'd have already paid off a couple of years worth of that in terms of how that transfer was going to be spread over the length of his contract. So basically you're making, so some of that's been paid off. You paid probably, I don't know, £7 or £8 million of that price of that already. So in terms of sort of counting in the books, if you sell him now for sort of £20 million, you're definitely making a profit on him. I I don't know if Arsenal get £25 million plus for Kiwior. I think that's maybe pushing it a little bit. I think if you get 20 million for him, I don't think that's too bad a deal now this summer. Obviously, that has to be invested elsewhere. But look, I think Andre Berta is going to be a pretty tough negotiator. He'll get the best deal he possibly can for Arsenal. The issue is if it is just Italian clubs in for Kiwior, we all know that they do struggle to sort of raise the cash to be able to spend significant amounts of money. So we'll have to see. And it looks like if Kiwior does leave Arsenal, it will be a return to Italy for him. I'm easy on the whole Kiwior situation. Basically, if he goes, then I can absolutely understand that. And if he does go, I think it will be his decision that Arsenal will reluctantly kind of agree to and then look to get some good amount of money as they possibly can. But if he stays as well, like Matt says here, I'm perfectly happy for him to stay. He's shown he's more than good enough and capable enough to fill in case of any injury. So I'm very easy on the Kiwior situation. Simon on the Discord says, hi, Charles. If Partey doesn't sign a new contract with us, would that mean we would need to sign a new right back as well as a six? I hadn't even thought of this until I saw Simon's question. I would suggest no. I can't imagine that Partey's gone, that's it, we've got to sign a right back. It's going to be at the forefront of their thinking. Yes, he's played there a lot, too much. And I'm guessing we all agree on that. But I don't think that if he goes, they're suddenly thinking, our fourth choice or third choice right back is out. We're going to have to go out and sign someone else in that position. I'd be very, very surprised. There's so many other areas of priority this summer that they're going to have to work on that I'd be surprised. So no, I think it would just be a number six rather than a number six and a right back. Nasai has got in touch there. I hope I pronounced that right. He said, I think we're seriously overlooking the importance of pocket positions, the left 8 and right 8. Despite Ethan's arrival and Dowman waiting in the wings, we still need fresh legs in those areas. Last season showed how much we struggled without Odegaard. His absence disrupted our rhythm completely. We need real strength there out wide and, of course, up front. I'm honestly surprised we didn't move for Naipan. You can never have too many attacking options. That's never a valid excuse not to buy. I agree with that. I think what they did move for Naipan, they tried. They set out their idea of why they wanted to sign him. He just chose somewhere else. So they did move for him. So I think they are looking at sort of strengthening those positions. We know there's interest in the young Greek teenager whose name has completely escaped me now. As well, we've seen that reported in the last week or so. You do mention obviously Ethan. I watched Ethan yesterday in the under-21s. He came on for England, first game of in the tournament against Czechs. They won 3-1. Ethan came on with about sort of 25 minutes to go. He played out on the right, but he was drifted into those central positions. It was a really good cameo from him, actually. He was very, very bright. I do think next season we're going to see Ethan more as a sort of, when he is used, he'll certainly be played out on the right at times, but I do think we'll see him more and more in that central areas as well. I do think they're really important. The pocket positions are important. That's why I kind of love the idea of Eze, because then you're a winger, but you can also play in that sort of left 8 position as well. It gives you another kind of pocket player that he plays in. It's why he really appeals to me. That's why him and Rodrygo at the top, I know they're two very, very different players, but either one of those I'd be happy with. And if it was Eze, then that would solve a little bit of a problem in terms of the pocket positions that you talk about. Thank you for getting in touch on that one. Got a couple more now. Chef Onski says, hi, Charles. If Lewis Skelly is going to continue playing at left back, why are we looking to sign another left back in Joel Hatto? Hatto is a left back, played over 45 games at left back last season compared to 2 at centre half. He's also under 6 foot in height, which points to one thing when it comes to Mikel not playing at centre half. It's a good point. I don't really know how to answer it, to be honest, but I thought it was a good point worth sharing. That I still do feel that Lewis Skelly, maybe long-term midfield will be the thing, but I'm just not sure long-term is next season, if you see what I mean. I think they're looking at Hatto as well. As I said yesterday, if we don't know what's going to happen with Zinchenko yet, if Zinchenko goes and Kiwior goes, I think that's why Hatto would be someone that they push for. I'd be surprised if Hatto is an option if both Zinchenko and Kiwior stay, which is entirely possible. So I think mainly the reason they're looking at Hatto is to counter a couple of possible departures rather than sort of focusing it too much on Lewis Skelly and what role he might well play. And lastly to today, Steve says, have you heard if there'll be an Emirates Cup this year? And if so, any idea who'll be playing in it? I don't know who's going to be playing on it, but there'll definitely be an Emirates Cup this year. I would suggest it is going to be, and I don't know this set in stone yet, but I would suggest it's going to be, let me quickly get the calendar out to get this right, the weekend of either 9th or 10th of August. That's what I think it will be. I don't know if it will be that Saturday or Sunday. I don't think it'll be spread over the weekend. I think it will just be a one-off game, and we might have another Emirates friendly in the midweek before the start of the Premier League season. But there is going to be an Emirates Cup. That's what I've been told anyway. But I don't know when it's going to be announced. I think from looking at what someone said who knows more about fixtures than I do, that because they don't know yet what date the Community Shield is going to be on in London, I think what day the Emirates Cup is going to be on is kind of going to be decided by that. And so once they announce when the Community Shield is, that's when the Emirates Cup announcement will come as well. And that's it from me this morning, I should say, because I am coming back for the Arsenal Press Pass show, and you guys on the regular YouTube channel will get to see that this week. So you can see what we do talk about. And if you like it, you like what you see, you like what you hear, then sign up, become a member on the Inside Arsenal Patreon community, and you get that show every single week, plus other content that is going to be coming as well, all ad free. So yeah, please do sign up, become an Inside Arsenal member. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. Have a great start to your weekend. Bye bye.